riding forth and back will make a slum out of your village. You try to sympathize until you run out of forgiveness. What is good people? You are now listening to another episode of Since We Last Spoke with Danny Foxworth. I am your humble narrator, Danny Foxworth, and once again, we're joined by a super special return guest. Man, this guy, MC, Ghostwriter, BK, Bed-Stuy, St. James, Long Ridge, Casper the Friendly writing for the Forbes list, the greatest balancing act that ever came off the steps. This guy's got a new project dropping this Friday, December 5th, entitled Views of a Lifetime. Man, it's an incredible project. We're going to get into that and a whole bunch of other shit. So without further ado, making his return to Since We Last Spoke, we got the good brother Skyzoo in the building. SKY. Yeah. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Cuzzo, what's going on, man?
Hey, as you would say, I'm all smooth.
Word up. Yeah, good to be back here since we last spoke. You know what I mean?
Hey, I like that. So let's get into the project, man. Views of a Lifetime. I had the pleasure of listening to the project over the weekend, and man, I could not stop. I like every song, man, just from front to back, man. It's an incredible project. So
thank you.
First of all, what was what went into the creation of this project? Because I know with your projects, you normally have a running theme with your project. So what was the theme with Views of a Lifetime?
Yeah, so this one, we're piggybacking off of Keep Me Company, right? All my projects, I feel like my career is going to be one novel, like one book, and then each album is a chapter, each project is a chapter, whatever. Each song is a page in the book, page in each chapter. So with this one, coming off of the last chapter, which is Keep Me Company, that album was all about growth, the growth and experiencing it, the realization of growth, coming to grips with it, accepting it, realizing you're not alone in it, Keep Me Company. And this now is, okay, now that we've settled into this growth, now we're looking back on who we used to be. And that's why it's called Views of a Lifetime. So now we're looking back on that previous life that we lived, that lifetime that feels like a lifetime ago because we've grown and come from so much. And when I say we, meaning myself, but then also you guys as the listeners, you know what I mean? So the whole thing is where we are now. So a lot of what I speak about on it is expectations you may have had coming up, and speaking for myself in general, expectations of getting in the game, what it would be like when you get in the game, what you think is going to happen, what your plan, your outcome of your career is going to be, the way you see things going, and things never go the way you want, and that can be good and bad. Sometimes things don't go the way you want because they went even better. Sometimes things don't go the way you want because you feel like you missed the mark, but then later on you realize, it was perfect for me to miss that mark, because if not, I wouldn't have hit this mark, and this is what I'm really put here to be, or what my purpose is, my calling, whatever it is. And that's just the way life rolls for everybody. So, a lot of the stuff I talk about on this album is looking back and reflecting on, man, this is how I was coming up. This is what I was expecting. This is what I wanted. These are what my goals were. These are the ones I hit. These are the ones that changed. These are the ones I didn't hit, which benefited me, which I may think in the time, oh man, I fell short of that, but nah, it was a benefit and I won because of that. Just those different types of things. So it's all looking back. That's why it's called Views of a Lifetime. You're looking back on this lifetime, and it's just your view of it.
Right on, man. I love that theme. So how long did it take you to complete this project?
Let me see. When did I start? Probably in the summer, man. Probably. When did I finish? Okay, I finished. When was that show? I did a show, I want to say early November. Actually, it was November 1st. It was right after Halloween. It was November 1st. I was in Chicago. My man Fillmore Green, shout out to Fillmore. He had a festival called Fillmore and Friends.
Shout out Philly.
So absolutely. So this is why I know when I finished it. And then that'll help me know when I started. So I'm at the show. I ran into my man Johnny, who manages Thelonious Martin, the producer out of Chicago. And I've worked with Thelonious on a couple joints. He did See a Key with me and Jadakiss. He did Women Who Could Cook. He did, Ever Loyal. He did Fulfillment. A couple joints, that we've had over the course of my career. And I ran into Johnny, and he was like, yo, man, I got to get you the new pack from Thelonious. And I was like, yeah, send it to me. But I was like, yo, just to let you know, I just finished the project a couple days ago. I think I had finished like the 30th, October 30th. I was like, yo, I am done. Like, I wrapped it up. But send it to me. I'm always listening. And of course, Thelonious is a monster who I have a relationship with. So I'm like, yeah, send it. And he sent that pack that next day. And I was like, I got to add one more. And that became Love Day.
Yeah.
So Love Day was the last record I did for the album and snuck it on it. So that's how I know when I finished it, because I know when I did that show, when I got the beat pack, and when I was like, yo, I got to do this. So that was that. I feel like I started it in like August, like the end of the summer. And, it was quick, but it wasn't every day. If it was every day, I probably would have finished in a week and a half. It was like do a joint, real life for a week. Do two joints, real life for a week. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you know, dropping my kid off at school and picking him up and going this and going to that and field trips and blah 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 and touring and traveling. So it wasn't like every day. Sometimes I get in the lab when I'm in album mode and it's like every day, Mind of a Saint every day. I'm going downstairs every day, Keep Me Company every day, But with this one, it was do a joint, do XYZ for a week. Do a joint, so that's why it took a little longer. But I want to say August, and I know I wrapped up October 30th, and then like 3 days later, I added that last joint.
Okay, man, I love how you got that work-life balance down to a science, man.
Yeah, it's the only way to succeed in this thing, man. You got to figure it out, and it be on the fly. You got to figure it out on the fly. So I feel like I know where the sweet spot is as far as the work and the life and the balance, like you said. But yeah, that was how that came together with me wrapping up this project.
Yeah, so my favorite track, which is one of the lines that you spit, the intro line that I came with, was
Hmm.
"The Wager," produced by Cartoon Beats. So
Yeah.
how did that song come about?
Man, Cartoon is my homie, man. We did the workload with me and Method Man. And yeah, he always sends me beats. He always taps in. I always hit him, yo, I'm working right now. Let me know if you got something, send it over. And vice versa. He'll see me announce that I'm working and he'll hit me right away. Yo, I got a pack waiting. I'm like, yo, send it. Like we have a real good relationship like that. We're real close. And he's working on some stuff. I think everybody knows it with RJ Payne. Shout to Payne, that's the homie, dope MC, and that's the homie. So he was like, yo, I'm working on some stuff with Payne. So I'm making all these different packs and different sounds. Yo, I'm gonna throw, if you listening, I got a new. I was like, yeah, send it over. He was like, yeah, I'm in beat mode. I'm working with Payne, so I'm in beat mode. I'm just creating. And he sent some joints, man. And right away when I heard that, I was like, ooh. And like before I wrote one word or anything, I texted him back. I said, bro, you made the album. You know what I mean? Just off hearing the beat, I
Yeah,
was like, bro, you made the album. And he was like, word, okay, bet. I was like, yeah, this one, whatever the name of the beat initially was, I was like, this one, you made the album. As soon as I heard it, I was like, yeah, I want that. And I think maybe like the next day or something, I came down here and sat down for about an hour. And, it usually takes me about an hour and a half to write a song from A to Z, and came down here, sat down for about an hour and change, and just blew through it.
right on. So another track that I like, "Devotion," which
Yeah,
which was produced by Conductor Williams, man.
yeah, my man Conductor, absolutely.
He's the man of the moment right now. So
Oh yeah,
how'd you link up with him?
man, I've been in talks with Conductor for a little while now. We have following each other and DM, yo, shoot me your number, boom, boom, boom. So now we texting and we on the phone and that type of thing. We still haven't been in the room together, but we be on the phone and texting and the whole deal. And like anybody who's around Conductor, it's like, yo, I know you got a pack. You know what I mean? So, and he was just telling me how much of a supporter he had been forever before anyone knew him. He's like, yo, man, I've been a supporter of yours forever, man. Like, you one of my favorites. So when we first met, he was, saying those types of things. And I'm, of course, I'm like, yo, thank you, bro, whatever, whatever. And I'm like, yo, man, your work is nuts. You out here going crazy, So we building on that level. And he sent me like 2 packs over time. He sent me like 1 pack, and then maybe a couple months later another pack, stuff like that. So sent me a couple packs over time, and everything was crazy. Some of the stuff came out. Some of the stuff wound up coming out. One of the packs he sent me, I had asked about a beat. I was like, yo, this one is crazy. And this was maybe like over a year ago. And he was like, oh, nah, that one is gone. That one just got snatched up. It was the Leon Thomas joint, the joint with Leon Thomas and Wale.
Mm,
So that was in a pack that I have.
yeah,
But when I asked about it, it was gone. It's not like I slept on it. You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah.
was like, yo, this beat is nuts. And I hit him. I was like, yo, this one right here, I definitely want to mess with this. And he was like, oh, man, that one just got snatched. But he didn't say who. He was like, oh, that one just got snatched up. Couple months later, Leon Thomas album came out. I'm like, oh, that's the joint. Like, oh, him and Wale, that's the joint in the pack. So, so that lets y'all know he sends great beats to everybody. It ain't about this pack is only for these level artists and like everybody's getting elite work from Conductor, and that's just a huge testament to his characters. Yeah, but like I said, we have been circling around each other for a little while, and I went back in the pack when I was working on this album, and I was like, yo, this joint. I was like, I remember this. Man, when I first opened this pack up, I was feeling this joint. So I hit him and was like, yo, is this one still open? He was like, yeah, yeah. And then I did the joint, sent it to him, and he was like, oh, absolutely. He was like, yeah, this is nuts, bro. Like, that's yours. So that was that. He was like, yo, that's 100% yours. That's off the table now. So that was it.
That's love. So I got to ask you, what were your favorite tracks to do on this one?
Oh man, albums are like your kids, songs are like your kids, so I love them all. But man, Love Day is absolutely one of my favorites. Devotion, Skies Like, The Wager, Half Bloom, Hope and Pray. I'm naming all of them now. You know what I mean? But yeah, I love them all, man. That Love Day, I think also too with Love Day, the fact that it was the last joint that snuck on. When I heard that beat, I was like, yo, I gotta use this. And like, I
Yeah.
was done. The project was 8 songs and it turned into 9. I was like, I gotta use this. This beat is ridiculous. I was like, there's no way this beat could sit here and I'm not putting it on this album. I was like, I gotta go back in. It's just one record. Jay did that with Public Service Announcement. Black Album was done. And the last song he did was Public Service Announcement, so it was like that. I was like, yo, I gotta add this on here. Yeah, I went in the 25th hour and did it.
Man, so matter of fact, let me just put it in reverse for a second. Skies Like.
Yeah.
I said, man, when you dropped the visuals for that, I was like, oh man, this is it right here, man. So just like was that in Queensbridge?
No. So most of it was shot in Brooklyn. The spots in front of Nas' building was Queensbridge. That's Nas's building. But most of it, most of it is in Brooklyn, was around the way. You know what I mean? So like 99% of it. It was really just those shots, actually, just the shots of Nas's building. But the rest of that stuff, that was in Fort Greene and that was in Clinton Hill and a little bit of the Sty. So yeah. But Skies Like, Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. Because as soon as you put it's exactly what you think it is, I was like, okay, let's go. My antenna are up.
Absolutely.
So talk about the process of doing that record.
Yeah, it was an idea I had for a while. Growing up, we all hip hop fans, we all grew up Nas heads. Hearing that record, I was in the 11th grade when Nas Is Like came out. And of course, I'm going crazy. I'm 16. I'm like, yo, what is this? He's losing his mind. Here he is. This is who he's always been now. We've known this guy for 5 years at this point, since 94, right? Like, he is continuing to be who he is. Holy Grail type thing, you know what I mean? And over the years, me getting in the game and people looking at me a certain way, now you start to get on that side of the fence, on that other side of the fence of like people look at you like that now in certain regards. And it was just an idea I had for a while, the one syllable Nas Sky, so it just made sense, so Sky's Like, and I was like, that'd be crazy to flip that. And I knew when I did it, it was never going to be about rhyming over that beat. It was never going to be about redoing that sample. None of that, because then what's the point? It's just a freestyle. You know what I mean? So most people probably would have found that sample that Preem used and rechopped it or something. I didn't want to do any of that. It was always going to be an original beat, but the formatting of Sky's like so and so, Sky's like, I'm like so and so, Nas is like I'm like so and so. The format was going to be that, but even the lines, the only line I flipped was Freedom of Jail, and then at the end, when he was like Heaven and Hell, Rap Legends, Predators Fell, and of course in the Yes of the Legends Spell. So I just did it backwards. Hell of Heaven, if we talk God tier and sevens, and of course, SKY is how you spell it. So that was it. I only flipped the first line of the first verse and the last line of the first verse. That's it. Like all of it, was me just going for broke. It wasn't going to be a record about Nas. It wasn't like, yo, let's just make a record talking about Nas. Nas is the greatest and GOAT and da-da-da. When I heard Illmatic, I could do that all day because those are my true feelings. But that's not how I would want to do Skies. Like, that would be kind of, you know what I mean? That just wouldn't have made sense to me. So it really was just about getting busy, but also doing it the right way and paying homage of like, all right, if you're going to, remake a joint, doing it the way it's supposed to be done. A lot of people in other genres, specifically R&B, jazz, remake joints all the time. How many covers have there been of, Night in Tunisia? How many covers have there been of a song from my father? Another song I flipped. It was a jazz one, but I just made a hip hop version. You know what I mean? Like,
I
how
like that
many
one
covers
too.
have there? Yeah, thank you, bro. How many covers have there been of A Love Supreme? How many covers have there been of The Night Dreamer by Wayne Shorter? Or, At Your Best from Isley Brothers to Aaliyah, Ribbon in the Sky from Stevie Wonder to Intro. Like, come on, you know what I mean? So, but as long as it's done right and it's done with respect, there's a difference between biting and paying homage. Biting is doing something and acting like where you got it from doesn't exist. That's biting. You know what I mean? Like ignoring and disregarding where you got it from and acting like it doesn't exist and acting like what you're doing is the original. That's biting. Paying homage is like showing utmost respect to something, flipping it your way, but making sure it's to the best of your abilities and knowing that you have the capability to carry it. Like everybody couldn't have sang Ribbon in the Sky over, but Intro was like, we have the capability to honor this man the way we deserve because we get super duper busy vocally. You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah,
let's run it, so there has to be a truth moment as well in it. Like you shouldn't play with certain joints if you can't do that. Like if you can't rhyme fast, don't play with a Bone Thugs joint. Don't play with a Twister joint if you can't do that. You know what I mean? So like
yeah,
there's a lot of levels that come to paying homage versus biting. Yeah, I just knew I was like, yo, it's going, this is something I wanted to do and tackle. And as far as the beat, my man DJ Manipulator did it, and I knew it's like being a coach. You know who hand to put the ball in. We needed three. Put the ball in this guy's hand. Yo, we need somebody to get to the hole and get a dunk real quick. We need somebody who, run under 5 seconds because it's 2 seconds left on the clock. Put the ball in his hand. We need to put that, whatever it is. We need our best free throw shooter on the line. Put the ball in his hand. So that's kind of what it's like. So I knew who hand to put the ball in with this record. Out of all the producers that I have in my Rolodex, and I was like, yo, Manipulator is absolutely the one. You know what I mean? Like without a doubt. So I
yeah.
went to him with the idea, and he was like, absolutely, I'm totally with that. One of the biggest Primo fans ever. So he was like, I would be honored, absolutely. But I was like, yo, we're not gonna flip that sample. We're not gonna redo that. Even the swing of it and the fit, like the drums, everything is like it's dirty, it's raw, it's hard, it's hip hop, but it's not Primo drums. You know what I mean? It's his own thing. It's manipulated drums. So we knew where we wanted to go with it. And I found the sample and gave him the specific sample that we used, and he was like, "Oh, word up, absolutely." And he chopped it up, and I was like, "Yo, this joint right here, this so and so." Of course, I'm not gonna say, but I was like, "This so and so joint right here, let's chop this." And he was like, "Yeah, that works." That because I always have a vision on the production side. I don't make beats because I don't know how to use the equipment, but I Quincy Jones produce. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
tell heads, use this sample, use these drums, let's go this tempo, let's change this part. The sample is great, but let's change the drum break. Like I Quincy Jones it. So I picked the sample and Manipulator went stupid on the drums. And when I heard it, I was like, yo, send me that right now, bro. Like he'll send a beat, he'll film it, on his phone, like just film the speakers so you could just hear it, like a little video. I was like, yo, bro, bounce that right now. I was like, that's it. That's it. I think there was like one or two different versions he had done before that. And they were dope, but it wasn't this one. And when he made this one, I was like, yo, bro, bounce that right now. I was like, I need to start writing. And he sent that over, and I just came down here and closed the door, you know what I mean? And started writing.
Man, like Jay would say, you just go and hop in the booth and let God in.
Let God in. I'm big on that, man. Ever since he said that on on the Black album, I always say that, leave the door cracked and let God in, So absolutely.
Speaking of cover songs, you should do a cover album. You should do like sing "Ribbon in the Sky"
Yeah, right.
just to throw the people off, man.
I know, right? Yo, he reached the ribbon in the sky, man. He probably gonna chop it and rhyme about, the sky and the clouds and metaphor. And then you hear me really singing at like 30 BPM. Yeah, right. Yo, wait, he really sang on that? Oh man, I knew he would let us down at some point. You know what I mean? So see, they be saying that he don't miss, he missed on that. Nah. But yeah, but it was an honor and a pleasure to do that. Just for hip hop and just to have fun, man. Just to, get busy and have fun. You think about Nas is like, that was 99, right? So what was
Yeah,
that? What, 25 years,
25
26
years.
years ago?
Yeah,
26 years, huh? You know what I mean? That was a long time. You got kids who was born and you know in '99, and now they got careers, college graduates, got a kid, got a car, got a house, who don't know the song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, let's reintroduce them. Let's get them hip. So they go listen to Skies like, oh snap, yo, that song is crazy. And then they see somebody like, yo, the way he flipped Nas is like, and they go, what's Nas is like? And then they go look that up. And they're like, oh, snap. Then they go look up all that's what this is about. And other genres do that, but we don't, right? In hip hop, we act stupid when it comes to some of that. And you know, we gotta really look at ourselves in the mirror when it comes to some of these things. If it's somebody who is not of that ilk doing that, I get it. But when it's somebody who is of that cloth, and you're supposed to protect these type of artists to make sure that it goes on the right way, so that the nonsense and the bullshit doesn't permeate and doesn't linger, then you're supposed to protect and do all that for these artists. You know what I'm saying? Myself included. You're supposed to be like, nah, he one of them ones. Nah, he do XYZ. Nah, he's doing it for us the right way. That's why, like the other day, somebody had left a comment on YouTube just really showing me a ton of love, man. And I wound up putting it on my social media pages because, you know, I was just like, wow, like this dude was like, yo, I'm 67. You know, my favorite MC of all time is Skyzoo. You know, he just went into this whole thing.
Wow.
It's still on my page now. He's older than my pops. You know what I mean? My pop's 63. You know what I mean? So he was like, yo, I'm 67. And, you know, I'm a Most Def head. I'm a Jay-Z head. I'm a Roots head. Whatever. And he was like, yo, my favorite MC, not rapper, but MC ever is Skyzoo. And he just went into all these reasons as to why. And I was just like, wow, man, you know, thank you. Like, that's what it's about. But it's not about being a troll and trying to pick apart and trying to find a reason to get your clout off because you don't do what I do or what Danny does or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, nah, it's like, yo, this, if you really love this culture and what we trying to save and preserve, then pay attention to that and protect those guys. You know what I mean? Protect you. A league has to protect its players. You know what I mean? Just like basketball, baseball, a league got to protect its players. You know, so let's do the right things. You know what I mean? So shout out to everybody who's just been enamored with the record and been loving it and going crazy over it. And you know, it's been an outpouring of love. So I appreciate it all.
Yes, sir. Make sure y'all check that out. It's dropping this Friday, December 5th, man. You will not be
Yeah,
disappointed. I mean,
yeah.
it's Skyzoo. He doesn't disappoint. That
Oh man,
disappointment is
thank you,
not in
man. Thank you.
disappointment ain't in his DNA.
Nah, we not doing that, man. Before we do that, we'll hang it up.
Yes, sir. So next thing I want to talk about is the tour life. Like,
Yeah.
when you first embarked on just on your music career, when did you like your first touring experience? What was that like?
Oh man, my first touring experience coming out the gate. You know, sometimes they say it's like you're a rookie and you get drafted to the Warriors right after they won a championship. You know what I mean? And it's like, wow, like I'm just thrown in the middle of this. It's ring night on my first game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So my first tour was with Ghostface.
Wow.
Literally the first so that's why I gave the analogy of like being thrown into like the top of it all. You know what I mean? The first tour I ever went. Now I'd done shows, of course. I'd done a million shows, little spot dates, little one-offs. You know, somebody email you from Virginia or DC or LA and they want you to come do a show. But you know, little one-offs as an up-and-comer, you know. But my first tour, yo, packed for 2 weeks, you out every night is a show in a different city and da 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 da, and you driving in hotels and but was with Ghostface, you know. So it was I want to say October, November of 2009, right after the Salvation drop. So I was touring the Salvation, I was touring that album. Yeah, I got a call from I got a call from Drew Hyde, Duck Down. Shout to the homie, shout, you know, that's family always. Drew hit me and was like, yo, you know, would you want to? And of course, he knew the answer, but he was like, "Yo, would you want to, you know, doing a tour with Ghostface?" And I was like, "Oh snap, absolutely!" And it's funny the way that came about. Fashawn was on that tour, and Fashawn's girl wound up having a baby, so he had to leave the tour to go be, you know, the birth of his first child and all that. So I'm gonna finish the story, but fast forward to last December, I'm on tour with Apollo Brown, Big Pooh, Exile, Blue, and Fashawn, and we sitting there chilling, whatever, whatever. And I've known Fashawn for a little while. I didn't know him when I did the first tour with Ghost, but I've known him for a little while now. So we sitting on the tour van together, sitting next to each other. So he's on FaceTime with his daughter. So he's talking to her. She's like a teenager now. So he's on FaceTime talking to her. So I'm sitting right next to him, and my math started being put together. And when he got off the phone, I said, "Yo, how old is your daughter?" He said, 15. I said, "Yo, you want to know a funny story?" I was like, "The first tour I ever did was in '09, the Ghostface tour. I replaced you because you was having a baby." And he was like, "Wow." He was like, "That's the baby that I just got." I was like, "Exactly. That's what made me start." Because she was
Wow.
15. That was 15 years ago. So
Yeah.
when he was on FaceTime with his daughter and she's a teenager talking about high school, I was like, that's the kid he had when he had to get off the tour. So I told him, he was like, "I never knew that." He was like, "Yo, that's incredible." I was like, "Yeah, like it's bugged out. So anyway, that's just a really cool full circle moment, just on some hip hop shit. That
Yeah.
he had his daughter and now she 15. I'm like, yo, I know that little girl without knowing her. You know what I mean? Because that she was a part of the story. But yeah, that was my first tour, man, and it was incredible. So your first tour, it's sold out every night. It's Ghostface. You know what I mean? So I think it was the Wizard. Who was it?
Ghost
It was the
Dini?
Green album.
Okay. Ghost Dini, the Wizard of Poetry?
Yep, it was that one. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And it was the green cover. It was kind of a lot of girl-oriented joints, if I remember correctly, and all that. It was that album. So he was touring that. But he's doing all the classics. He's doing One and Nutmeg and Mighty Healthy and Iron Man. He's doing all the classics. So it
Yeah.
was sick, man. It was, him and my man Trife the God. Shout to Trife.
Trife Diesel.
Yeah, my man Trife, man, and it was me and my man Torre. Tor came with me, and he kind of came as like tour support. So he wasn't on the tour, but he was down to come out and kind of like hype man and help with merch. And then he would also do like a song or two on my set. We had the Primo record, so he would perform that. And my man Reg West was DJing, and yeah, it was dope. So and then the crazy thing about that, I'm on the tour, so now we in the middle of the tour and I get a call from Drew High, and he was like, "Yo, when you come home in a couple weeks, you'll be home for about 6, 7 days, and if you want, you're gonna go right back out with Raekwon." And I was like, "Okay, word
Bet.
up." Another one that I'm not saying no to, of course. So I toured with Ghost, came home for a week, and toured with Ray. So that was my first touring experience. You know what I mean? So it was dope.
So what was it like interacting with Ghost?
Ghost is exactly who he is on record, man. It was amazing. It was amazing. Jokes all day, loud, hip hop. Yo, what's up, baby? What's up, baby? Yeah, yeah. And like very extroverted, very out there, very open. And I love all that.
Yeah.
And it was just great. He would show me love. He would shout me out every night on stage. Yo, shout to my man Skyzoo, killing it. And this is '09. This ain't 2025 Skyzoo where I'm 25 projects deep. Everybody know me. This is, I think I heard of him. You know what I mean? This is that moment. And he was like, "Yo, shout to my man Skyzoo, killing it up here." So that was real cool. Ray was super cool as well, but Ray is a little more reserved. Ray is a little quieter, but super cool as well. Show man love, drop mad jewels, give advice, all that, real cool. But Ghost was watching Ghost curse out the sound man every night was everything. Everything, man. Everything, man. We would be on stage. Well, we wouldn't be, it would be after we get off. Ghost would be on stage, man, and he would, if the sound wasn't right, he would go ballistic, man. Yo, and this is verbatim, right? Yo, pointing to Trife, because Trife might be messed up. Yo, the crowd came to hear him perform. Fix it. Like every night, B. It was incredible.
Oh my
We was
God.
backstage dying, B. Like every night. That's why I said Ghost is Ghost. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is no act. He is who he is, and it's why we love him. It was incredible. I loved it. I was like, yo, he ain't having it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
yo, sound man, fix his mic. I come up there and fuck you up, dude. Fix his mic in the middle of the show. Beat stop, everything.
Damn.
Incredible. Yeah.
Man, so what were some of your other favorite standout memories from touring?
Just in general,
Yeah.
I love touring with my brother Apollo Brown. We always call each other twins. We 2 years apart, but we are literally just alike. When you tour, the best way to get to know somebody, if they're not a girl that you dating and living with, the best way to get to know somebody is to tour with them. You with them every day for 2, 3 weeks. Every meal is together. You breaking bread, getting money together. You dealing with people together. The workload is the same for both of y'all. The lack of sleep, the tour van, then the train going through London to Paris, then just all the different things, the flights we here tonight, then we got to go to Russia, then we got to come back to Poland, and the best way to get to know somebody is to tour with them, and you'll learn if you can deal with this person or not. And Apollo and I toured together before we had even did any music. We toured back in 2014. It was me, Torre, Apollo Brown, and Ugly Heroes. So it was the Bow Brothers Ugly Heroes tour in Europe, and that was 2014. So like I said, you getting to know each other. I knew Apollo through the game, but we had never worked. So but we getting to know each other, and I was like, yo, he just like me. Like when I tour, some people tour and they want to go out and party, or after the show they want to hang out at the venue all night till 3 in the morning and drink and pick up girls and do whatever, and that's cool. But like, I like to do the show, sell merch. I get 1 or 2 drink tickets. I usually just get a whiskey on the rocks or a Henny on the rocks, like one, just to throw that down after the show. I don't need no bottle. They bring a bottle backstage. Heads be wanting the whole bottle. I don't need none of that. Give me 1 drink ticket, maybe 2 max. I just want 1 or 2 whiskey on the rocks. I'm at the merch table, signing autographs, taking pictures, selling merch. And I want to go. I want to go to the hotel, get some food on the late night, and go to bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Catch up on the score, who won a Knicks game. You know what I mean? I want to go to sleep. Meeting somebody with the same frame of mind, the same value on things, the same, I'm not about none of the bullshit either. I just want to tour, give the people a great show, break bread, make money, sell merch, show love to the people, and go back to the hotel. Find some food and go back to the hotel, go to sleep. Tomorrow, I want to find a sneaker store, I want to find a record store, and I want to go back to the hotel. Like, that's it. And that's very important, because you do have people that you tour with. They not on time when it's time to go catch the flight, when it's time to get on the tour van and hit the road. We got an 8-hour drive in front of us, whether it's locally or internationally. Like, we got an 8-hour drive in front of us, so we got to leave this hotel by 9 a.m. in order to make it to sound check and the hotel and all that before the show, because sound check is at 3. It's going to be rush hour traffic. We got to go. I know we got in here at 3:30 a.m. last night, but lobby call is 8:30. Those things are important, because some people will screw around and be asleep. I've seen tour managers call people rooms and knock on doors and heads be asleep. And it's like, yo, the flight is out of here soon. You know what I mean? All that stuff is important. It's important to know who you're touring with and traveling with. And it's the best way to learn somebody. So, long story longer. I love touring with Apollo. Torre, me and Torre have toured a bunch of times. Who else, man? I mean, I've been blessed to have really good tours. My man Landon Wordswell, who I've been touring with a whole lot
Yeah.
throughout the US the past probably like 2-3 years. Very good friend of mine. He's become family. So we tour a lot, and he's another good person to tour with, because like-minded. Like I said, some people want to go party all night. You want to go to the room, they want to party, y'all at a ride together. You know what I mean? Y'all in one rental car together, or vice versa, whatever it may be. And some heads want to get into it with heads. Some heads, yo, what up, yo, and now you fighting every night. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not with none of that, man. Not because I'm not about it, but who wants to do that at 42 years old? Like,
Right.
I want to do the show, sell some merch, take some pictures, find some late night food, because we haven't eaten since 3 o'clock, and go to bed. That's it. That's an awesome night to me. You know what I mean? Like, that is an
Yeah.
excellent night. I can go get into bed, I can chill, turn on, Sports Center or whatever, eat this food I just got from whatever little late night spot, and knock out. And I'm good. That was a perfect night for me. But some people see that as a corny night. Some people see that as, y'all want to go out and bug out and wild out and da 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 and get drunk and get wasted and find these girls and blah blah. Go do that. I'm cool, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm cool, baby. Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna get some breakfast. We're gonna find a sneaker store, especially if you out of the country, if you overseas, because they got stuff, we may not have here. So, yo, go find a little sneaker store. I'm definitely trying to find a record shop, get some vinyl. And I'm good, man. Let's get back in this ride and hit the next city and make some more money. You know what I mean? And keep
Right.
it going. That's it.
Speaking of record shopping, man, perfect segue. I
Yeah.
know you're known for being just a superior collector of vinyl. So
Thank you, man.
where did that love and it was I watched your episode of Let the Record Show a while
Yep.
back, and I was
Yeah.
like, man, every record every record y'all talked about, you were like, I have the OG pressing. I'm like, of course he's got the OG pressing. So
Yeah,
where did that love for vinyl collecting come about?
man. I don't know how it started. It just was a leak. You know what I mean? It's like a leak in your bathroom or your kitchen. You don't know how it started, but it's there. You know what I mean? Now there's water, there's residue, it's there. So like the first record I bought was either a Love Supreme or Kinda Blue, because those were the first two records. So I just don't know which one I bought first. So that's like buying Reasonable Doubt and Illmatic first as your first two hip hop albums. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's like the equivalent. And excuse me. So I bought those two records first. I think I just like the idea of vinyl. Like, yo, that would be really cool to just have jazz vinyl. And then it turned into an addiction. Like, I remember having my apartment, back in Brooklyn, having like my first apartment by myself. And I think that was how it started. Cause I was like, yo, you know what'd be ill? Especially you thinking about inviting girls over. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, you know what'd be ill? Yo, bachelor pad, blah, blah, yo, bust out some vinyl. I'm already a jazz head, but all my jazz is on iTunes, digital, and all that. But I'm like, yo, it would be dope. Bust open the jazz record and throw it on, and then, all right, boom. And well, I'm gonna just buy the records that I already love that I have digitally. Love Supreme, Kinda Blue, Night Dreamer, Speak No Evil, all these different albums. So I just go and buy the vinyl, and then it became an addiction of like, oh my God, all I care about is vinyl. All I want to do is buy vinyl. So now I'm sitting at over 1,000 pieces. I would say 95% of my wax is jazz, like 95%. As a rapper, as somebody in hip hop who makes their bread and butter in hip hop, that is a little unorthodox. Like most people, even when I go digging, if it's people who know who I am or whatever, they'll think I'm looking for samples. Like they'll be like, "Oh, yo, you looking for samples? You looking for some soul stuff? Or with the jazz, you looking for samples to produce?" And I'll be like, "Nah, I collect. Like I buy vinyl to put it on and press play, like our parents and grandparents did. You know what I mean? So like sometimes I'll come across something like Sky is like that's a record I have in my collection, and I was listening, and I was like, yo, you know what? This would be crazy for that record. For that song, this would be crazy. That became that. But I just love, vinyl, specifically jazz vinyl, but just vinyl. Then it becomes you start looking for the stuff that you know is a sample, like, oh man, the Kanye I Wonder joint, the Labby Sifri, I need that on vinyl now. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. So
Yeah.
like then that becomes a part of it too. You might buy records just for the sample, all that type of stuff. So then it just becomes this thing. Then it's like, yo, I need this, I need that, I gotta get this, I gotta get that. Your Discogs is going crazy, and your eBay, and now it's just like, oh my God, every day there's a square box, a brown square box, and my whiz is like another one, like you know what I mean, like literally, and I'm like, no, 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 they sent me this for free, they sent me this for free. I mean, like, I'm dealing with. She's like, yo, another one. You just had one delivered yesterday. You bought another one. No, 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 no. This is the label. They sent me this for free, but that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Like. It's just now you gotta cover that, and I'll be speaking to other dudes who's married, and they be like, "Yo, I go through the same thing. I gotta hide my records from my wife." You know what I mean? Because they're like, "You buying more?" You know what I mean? So it's just it's like buying sneakers. You know what I'm saying? But buying vinyl is it, man. And now my son is a jazz vinyl head. He got his own collection. So it's at 7. He's 7. He got his own little stash. You know what I mean? So it's pretty incredible. That part is probably the best part. Because I always said, regardless, even before I had him, I was like, well, whenever that day comes, the whole collection is going to go to my kid. You know what I mean? They're going to inherit the whole collection and do what they want. You know what I mean? You want to discogs it, you want to auction it, you want to just, it's your call. I won't be here to see it. You know what I mean? I hope you do the right thing with it and get paid off it, but I won't be here to see it. But once he got here and now he's 7 and he's an avid jazz head. I mean, every day, every morning, he has to listen to Kinda Blue on the way to school.
Wow.
Every morning he can tell you who played what on what. Yo, that's Wayne Short on sax. That's Cannonball Adderley. That's Art Blakey. That's Bill Evans. That's everything. Like he can just tell you, oh yeah, that's so and so. That's Wynton Kelly. That's Paul Chambers. That's Ron Carter on bass. He's 2nd grade, so it's pretty wild, man. I love it. And then he got his own. Dad, I need my own Donald Byrd Parade. I need my own, Louis Armstrong. I need my own. So now I got mine and he got his, so it's wild.
Man, that's crazy. You know what? And I don't have any Donald Byrd, and I need to fix that.
Oh man, yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I wasn't because I've gotten I think it was around COVID when I really got my vinyl addiction. My mom bought me a record player for Christmas. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, here we go. And I
Yeah.
just started buying stuff. Actually, the first vinyl I bought was it was Ultramagnetic Critical Beatdown.
Oh, word up.
I bought that, and then I found my sister. My sister had the old Run DMC Raising Hell vinyl, and it was
I got
still
that. Yeah.
and it was still at my parents' house. And I'm like, oh,
Take
okay,
that.
yeah, I'm gonna take that
Yep.
off her hands. And then
Absolutely.
next thing you know, like to this day, like every Saturday, I got to get at least 2 or 3 vinyls while I'm out.
Wow. Wow.
Like I'll go to a record store, and
Times 52 Saturdays in a year. Before you know it,
yeah,
you're gonna be up there.
it adds up.
You're gonna be up there. You're gonna be like, yo, I get 500 pieces in here already.
Yeah,
That's how it goes.
it is.
I used to go to little, especially, back in New York. Summertime it's nothing but stoop sales and flea markets, and I'm just walking around on a Saturday, man. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, yo, let me stop by this little flea market, or they doing something over here. They took the junior high school and put these tables outside flea market. Yo, I came up on this. Oh, snap, boom, boom, boom. Before you know it. And then too, with me, a lot of the vinyl stuff too, that's one of the pluses of touring, because when I tour, the first thing on my mind is where's the record store. So I've shopped all over the country, I've shopped all over the world, and I've found vinyl that you can't find here or there or whatever. And I've bought records where I can say, oh, I bought this record in Poland, I bought this record in Berlin, I bought this record in Austria, I bought this record in Australia. And that's cool. Like, I can remember it. I could just look at, oh yeah, I remember when I bought this in Brazil. Oh, I remember I bought this in South Africa. And a lot of people can't say that because
Yeah,
their job doesn't allow them to move around like that. But my job does, where I can travel all over the country, all over the world, and just dig. So any tour stop you see on my page, no, I went digging in that city.
yeah,
Just know it. And sometimes I catch one piece. Sometimes I may catch 10 pieces in one city, but I'm going to catch something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to
yeah.
catch something.
And so again, we can't have an episode with Skyzoo
Yeah.
and not talk about the New York Knicks.
Yeah, let's do
I
it.
mean, got a new coach, kick Tibbs to the curb, got Mike Brown, regime change. So how are things looking over?
It looks good. Here's the funny thing about it. Usually situations like this, you get rid of the coach, you got, so many changes. There's usually a need for time to grow and growing pains and adapt and all that stuff. But the flip side is coming off of a season where you was in the Eastern Conference Finals and you was right there, right?
Yeah,
Second year where it felt like you was right there. And every year you get a step closer. First it was the semis. Now last year it was the Eastern Conference Finals. And you're like, yo, we was right there. The expectations are through the roof. So there's no time for the new coach, new coaching staff, new regime to work out any kinks or growing pains. It's like, it's time to go. So, that is very rare because it's such a conundrum. Most teams, it's one or the other. A lot of teams, when they right there at the top, they usually don't get rid of the coach, but there was validity on both sides of it. So it was understood. But with that being the case, there is no time to figure it out. Now, the good thing is, it seems like it's already been figured out. There's some games that I'm like, yo, we should have won that. We should have won that. Like last night, that Boston game, we should have won that, right? And I think those are the games that come back to bite you later. Like, you got to take care of the ones you got to take care of. Because there will be, and I know you'll like hearing this, there will be a OKC that you're not going to win that game because it's them. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Or there will be a Denver that's going to be hard. There will be a Houston that could be a little tricky. Those are going to be certain nights, where it's like, oh, man, this is going to be a dogfight tonight. So those easy joints, those Chicagos and Charlottes and Orlandos and Bostons this year, you got to take those because you're going to pay for them later. It's one thing in November, December to say, it was just one night. By late March, you're going to be like, oh, man, remember them one nights? Yo, it's like 10 of them one nights that I wish we could get back now. You got to take care of the easy joints because the Shays and all them guys is gonna come and that's when it's a dogfight. You lose to OKC, it's like, we lost. So it is what it is. You lose to Denver or whatever. All right, it is what it is. But like you can't take that loss to the Bulls and the beat up Celtics and you know what I mean, the Orlando's without Paolo. Like, you got to take care of business on that. So those are my only little knickknacks if I had to point out something. But, at the end of the day, they are second in the East. I think we were second in the East last year around this time. So the train is still rolling. And the way we're second in the East, we could be first if it wasn't for Motown Records over there losing their mind. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
my God.
I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I salute it, but I'm like, you guys are like 101. You know what I mean? Like 100 in a row. But you know what I mean? So, it's Motown Records over there losing it, J5 and all them over there going crazy. So
Yeah.
it's like, I respect all that. But that's what I mean though. Like those guys is hungry, they ready to roll. So you gotta take care of the business that you can take care of.
And I know we talked about Melo on the last episode, and I know he's one of your favorite Knicks. I'm curious, who's your least favorite Knick ever?
Oh man, easy, man. Frank Ntilikina. Frank Ntilikina. And I don't like throwing hate and being a negative person at anybody in their craft, but everybody knew that's not what was supposed to be happening, man. Everybody knew that wasn't supposed to be it. I mean, they showed a clip the other day online where Phil was talking about Frank post draft, and he was like, he does a lot of good things. He does a lot of things good. He throws the ball up ahead. I'm like, what? Like, me too. I could throw the ball up ahead too. You want to sign me for $8 million a year on a rookie deal? Like, you know what I mean? So, he throws the ball up ahead, and he makes sure guys get the ball as soon as he crosses the court. What? Like,
Yeah,
yeah, me too.
it's not
Let's
exactly a
go.
ring in it. It's not a
Right. You know what I mean? So, I would say Frank, without a doubt. Frank for sure. And much love to him. Listen, any black man, who can make it in any of these realms and any of these facets and walks of life and get paid and take care of their family, much love to him. So it ain't no knock on nothing but his game. It ain't no knock on who he is as a person. I don't know him. It ain't no knock on what he's been able to do and provide for his family and himself. Yeah, he's not in the league no more. I think he's overseas. I don't know if he's modeling. I don't know if he's playing in Europe. I don't know. You know what I mean? Much love to him on that level. When it came to that rock, nah. You know what I mean? Like, put that rock down, man. Put that rock down and, hit a runway or something, man. They were saying son should have modeled and go for it, baby. You know what I mean? Like, get a baguette, baby. You know what I mean? Put that rock down, man. You know what I'm saying? I would say Frank.
man. That's a great call because I remember you on Twitter every now and then when there would be a Knicks game on, and you would just like your tweet would be just talking about how frustrated you would be with Frank, and it used to
Yeah,
always crack me
man.
up.
Because he could throw the ball up ahead. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? Okay, triangle man. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah. But we here, man. We here.
Love it. So now we're going to get into the last segment, which is listener questions. And actually, I got a set of questions from 3 different people. So I'm gonna start
Okay.
with my man Tone. He had 2 questions. So the first question is, what are your top 5 NYC school lunches, and do any of them fare versus South Carolina lunches?
That's an amazing question. There's no way they could compete with South Carolina lunches. No way at all. Any lunch in the South is gonna be boombastic, fantastic. Even my son, they send a list home from. I'm like, y'all got this for lunch, man? Yeah, nah, man. I think I went to Whitesville in Moscona for like 2 months when I was 9. I was down there, and my parents was thinking about me staying down there to get out of Brooklyn and better way of life and all that. So I went to Whitesville. I think it was a month, maybe not even 2. I went to Whitesville for like a month, so I got to get fourth grade lunch in South Carolina, and I was like, wow. It's Thanksgiving every day in school. Okay, you know what I mean? So that part of the question, the South, especially South Carolina, got it. Top 5 New York lunches, that's crazy. Chicken cutlet sandwich, like the chicken patty, those was always cool. People be talking about the pizza, man. The pizza was okay. It was like a rectangle. It was like a loaf, like round at the end, but rectangle. Sometimes it would be a straight up square, but the pizza was whatever. I mean, the burgers was whatever, man. I used to do them because we didn't have a choice, but the burgers was dirt. Yo, New York school lunch was dirt in the 90s. It was so bad. Like, I'm looking at the burger. It was so bad. Like, I can see it in my head now. It was so bad, man. I don't even know if I got 5. That chicken cutlet sandwich though was all right. We could work with that. You know what I mean? Like
Okay.
mayo packet, ketchup packet, lettuce, tomato. We could work with that one. You know what I mean? Like I was okay with that. It was chicken cutlet day. It was like, all right, no doubt, no doubt. You know what I mean? Of course, the school store. The milks was chocolate, the cookies butter crunch, like Big said. So of course, the Linden's butter crunch cookies was everything on Fridays. That was the Friday joint, and that was it. But then I lucked out in junior high and high school. The schools I went to, we were allowed to go outside for lunch. So elementary school, I had school lunch, and if the weather was bad, we couldn't go outside in junior high and high school, so we had to eat inside school lunch. But my junior high and high schools, you had the option where you could eat school lunch because everybody couldn't afford to go get Chinese food every day, so you could eat school lunch, but you could go outside, and they had like truant officers on the corners because there was a radius. Like, okay, you,
Okay.
you can't go past here. You can't go to the friggin' Bronx, you know what I mean, and get a Dominican platter on lunch. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? You got like I think we had like a 4 or 5 block radius. Like you can go here and you can go here. And they had truant officers stationed to make sure kids didn't slip out, past that. Of course, we used to slip. There was a comic book store a block away from the barrier that we had to stop at. So we would slip to the comic book store, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
get upper deck cards and comic books, you know what I mean, get a pack of upper deck cards or whatever, and run back to the school because it was a little further, whatever. But I lucked out with that, man, because we used to be able to go outside and get Chinese food, get pizza, get fried chicken from the corner spot, so that was cool, you know what I mean. But New York school lunch was dirt, man. I don't know what it is now, but it was dirt, man. It was awful. I don't know how we survived that stuff.
So you get the full wings and fries with extra duck sauce.
Absolutely, we used to get Chinese food. I mean, junior high, it was pizza every day. It was just like Everybody Hates Chris. It was pizza every day. You know what I mean? Like, yo, where you going? You'll go get a slice. You go get a slice. Or it was a Chinese spot, and the Chinese it's probably $5 now, but the Chinese spot had like a pint of fried rice, chicken fried rice, vegetable fried rice, and it was $1.50. So you get
Damn.
that, and you get a 50-cent tropical fantasy, $2 lunch, you straight. You know what I mean? At 12 years old, you full. You know what I mean? You get a
Yeah.
whole pint, chicken fried rice, shrimp fried rice for $1.50. Get a tropical fantasy for 50 cents. I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm good till I get home. So yeah.
There you go. His second question is, if he's up on the J Mills Goods battle, how does he feel about Ron Browz incorporating AI production into the essence of hip hop? And how
Yeah.
do you think AI moves forward in the culture generally, since it's getting easier to use and you don't have to pay for samples?
Yeah, great question. I'm very much up on the battle because I'm a battle head. Like I follow the battles, I watch the leagues, I know some of them personally, so I'm very much a fan of the sport. That run was really really something with Mills, really really dope.
Yeah.
We all can agree. The AI usage in beats, I think if we're gonna use AI for anything, let it be that. Let it be that because these labels and these publishing houses and some of the artists even have shown us, not all, but some of them, yo, we don't want you messing with our stuff. If you do, we gonna rape you, we gonna bang you, So like, all right, cool. You don't want to live off our music because you could see a spike in your sales and streams and concerts and tickets just from us bringing awareness to, oh, you don't want that? We'll go over here and use the computer. And then they're gonna come back and be like, no, 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 sample my stuff, sample my stuff. I could use that. I need that bread. Nah, you didn't want to show love before. You know what I mean? So I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm not a fan of AI at all, especially in the creative sense and the art sense, music videos and album covers and all that.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna use it for anything, let it be for samples. I think that's great because we can do so much more with them now with the samples. And listen, you showing us you don't want us to sit at the lunch table with y'all anyway. So we're gonna go over here at the other table. Y'all the cool table? Bet. We're gonna sit over here at the other table and show you how cool this table is. So I love obviously everybody's favorite joint is probably the
Ain't never been
Never Been
outside.
Outside.
Yeah.
That beat was phenomenal. You know what I mean? Mills killed it, but it didn't even matter what he did on. It was one of those beats. It didn't even matter.
Yeah.
It was one of those like, nah, that beat was special. And then Mills blacked on it. So it
He
was it
did.
was a great record. And DNA is dope. DNA is fire. Clearly Mills took jewels from, I would say, from the Kendrick and Drake battle of, okay, making a diss record but making it a joint where everybody's like, oh snap, yo, I just want to play the record. But while I'm playing the record, I'm just hearing you trying to dump on this guy the whole time. That, Mills obviously took that. Not took it in a
Yeah.
disrespectful, but meaning like that's a game plan, right? Like that's smart. That's smart business. Like, yo, if I'm gonna make a diss record, I'm not just gonna diss. I'm gonna make it a joint. And that's what him and Ron did with the Never Been Outside joint. So, it's I'm very much up on it. But yeah, that's where I feel about that. If we're gonna use AI, use it in sampling. I'm cool with that. Don't use it for album covers. Don't use it for videos. Don't use none of that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But if you making beats, you making samples and all that, you got dudes who, write a couple lines and put, sing this like Marvin Gaye. And then let me slow it down, speed it up, chop it. Now you think it's a Marvin Gaye, like the Ron Browse joints. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like if he wasn't saying some of the lines that's said in the Ron Browse joints, if it wasn't for that, you wouldn't know that it sound like a joint from the 70s. No, ain't never been now. So
Yeah.
like that's the beauty of that. But that's the only place I'm cool with AI.
Yeah. That song stuck in my head like an earworm, and the DNA ain't never
Yeah,
been outside.
right. Yeah, nah, no, yeah. They killed that. They killed
Yeah, they
that.
did. Next question is courtesy of my homie Cordell. He said, ask him what are his top 5 favorite projects of yours. What are your 5 favorite projects?
Yeah, appreciate that, man. I would say, and I talked about this a little bit on the gram the other day when I was talking about the 1 year anniversary of Keep Me Company, and I was like, yo, we all got you always got your kids, and you love all your kids the same, but there are certain ones that are, yo, I love all my kids the same, but that one is special. That one is, so it's the same with albums, man. I would say in no particular order, in celebration of us. Keep Me Company, The Mind of a Saint. I would say, excuse me, it was so tough, man. I got so many of them. I'm looking at my wall now. I'm looking at my plaques and stuff. I would say Music for My Friends would probably, yeah, Music for My Friends would be up there. I'm going to say, man, Easy Truth, Retropolitan. Boy, whew, live from the tape. Man, I've been blessed, man, to be able to make this catalog, all the brilliant things. I'm going to have to put Milestones in there because of what it represents. Besides the fact that it's a great project, it's an EP, so it's short. It's like what 6, 7 songs, but because of what it represents, and no one had done a fatherhood album, at least that
Yeah.
I know of. People have done father songs. Shout to my man Terminology. That's my bro. He's very big on his brand, Good
Good
Dad
Dad
Gang, and all
Gang.
that
Yeah.
stuff, and does so much for us as dads with that. But most people outside of Term, most people, not all, but most people, when they make a father record, it's usually the negative side because sadly that's what they experience. You look at Jay and Beanie Siegel, Where Have You Been? You look at LL, Father. You look at Ed O.G., Be a Father to Your Child. All these very important records and incredible records. But my whole theory was those stories are true, 100%. But there's some other true stories that no one is talking about, right? Like everybody's father wasn't like that. Just because you rap doesn't mean your father wasn't there. It's not like the two go hand in hand. Like, well, you a rapper, so that means you went to jail and you don't got no father and your mother's on drugs. Like, you know what I mean? It don't work like that.
Yeah.
So, but the heads like to pretend it does because they think they're gonna lose street cred or lose credibility or lose validation if they don't. So for me, I just wanted to blow a hole through that. I just wanted to shoot that to smithereens and do something for us as black men, black dads, and from where we from. Also, Milestones would definitely be up there as well.
Good call, man. That's a strong 5 right there.
Yeah.
And speaking of the easy truth, the last question comes courtesy of my homie Donovan. He said, ask him if he'll do another album with Apollo Brown.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to. I don't know what the future holds. Apollo's a very good friend of mine, even outside of the music. So that makes it easier. It's not like I did that one album with somebody and, we don't never talk and, we just did it once. So who knows? Nah, it's like we have a relationship. We're family. We're like brothers. So it's nothing to be like, yo, let's run it back. So I don't know what the future holds. I've been so busy working on Views of a Lifetime. Apollo has dropped, I think, 3, maybe 4 projects this year between the instrumental stuff, the Bronze Nazareth, so Crime Apple stuff. So we both have a lot that we're doing musically, but you never know. Ironically, next year is the 10-year anniversary of the Easy Truth, which
Wow.
is wow. 10 years next year. It feels like it was yesterday.
Boy,
I
time
remember the
flying.
tour. I remember the sessions. I remember the photo shoot. I remember everything like it was yesterday. It was 10 years ago. So next year, next September is 10 years. So never
Wow.
know, but that's my bro, and we always go hammer when we make records together. One of my favorite producers, without a doubt.
Yeah, you and me both. Man, Scott, this was such a fun episode to do, man. And
Yeah.
I'm so happy you were able to come back on the pod, man.
Anytime, man. Anything for your family. You know what I mean? Anytime, bro. You know it, man.
Yeah, so go ahead and plug and promote your shit, man.
Listen, man. Views of a Lifetime this Friday, December 5th. The EP is 9 records. Production from my man DJ Manipulator, Conductor Williams, the other guys, of course, coming out on their label Hypnot Records. Cartoon, Twami, Camouflage Monk of Griselda, Thelonious Martin. It's just loaded, man. It's my man Leo Confident. It's loaded, man, and I'm super excited for y'all to hear it and get familiar with it and get in tune with it. And yeah, man, holla at me, tap in, since we last spoke, it's what it is. And 718 to the 843, baby, you know how we doing it.
All day, every day. When's the vinyl dropping for Views of a Lifetime?
It'll be January.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm
January.
definitely.
They're already in production. So it usually take like a
Yes.
month and a half. So I would say like late January, probably.
That's all I needed to hear. I'm copping my issue.
You know we gonna have them. You know we got you covered. You know we gonna get it going, man. And I'm excited. I'm excited for people to get it. I like to drop once a year, and I didn't know what I was gonna do this year. Earlier this year, I had some plans and some ideas and some stuff. I was like, nah, I'm gonna do that later. I'm gonna do this album with so and so later, and it might be too soon for this. And I kind of was just brainstorming, and then this came up. I was like, well, let me put together an EP, and it just grew. It was like, all right, I'm gonna start with this. I'm gonna do this. I want it to be about this. This is the title. This is the concept. And you just start finding beats and putting records together. And then here we are.
Yeah. So,
Word
man,
up.
once again, man, thank you for being on. And
Yeah.
you got an open door policy.
Oh man, likewise. Hit my phone anytime. You know it, man.
Yes, sir. And man, thank y'all for listening to Since We Last Spoke. Make sure you like, download, and subscribe. Tell a friend about the podcast. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel also at Danny Foxworth 843. There you can find videos of every episode of this podcast, as well as my baseball podcast, At the Plate with Danny Foxworth, my Candle podcast, The Wicked Good Time with Danny Foxworth, and Growing Up Low Country with Liz and Danny. And for Sky and myself, this has been another episode of Since We Last Spoke. And until next time, y'all be good. Peace.